Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. The Allman Betts Family Revival pays tribute to their father's legendary band, the Allman Brothers, tomorrow night at Capital One Hall in Tysons, Virginia. I spoke with Dwayne Betts, son of Dickie Betts, who wrote iconic hits like Ramblin' Man and Jessica. Hey, Dwayne Betts, hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in DC.
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good. This is an honor to talk with you. We're talking because your band, the Allman Betts Band, or are we calling it the Allman Betts Revival? What are we calling it now?
Well, I mean, this thing is kind of a bunch of different artists.
Yeah.
We're kind of the host band, but the name of the actual tour, it's the Allman Betts Family Revival. So this is a little different, but yeah, we have a lot of great guests, and it's more or less a celebration of the catalog of my father's catalog and Greg Allman's catalog, and a celebration of the Allman Brothers band in general. And yeah, a lot of great guests, and it's been fun so far.
Oh, it's going to be great. Yes. So the Allman Betts Family Revival, we'll call it that this time around, is going to be Tuesday, December 5th at Capital One Hall in Tysons, Virginia. It's a relatively new venue. Have y'all ever rocked out there before, or just in the DC, Virginia area in general? Like how often do you swing through here?
I was in DC in the spring, I think. It's been a minute. I was there in the spring, I believe. But yeah, I mean, we play in the area, but no, I've never been to this particular venue, I don't believe.
Cool. Well, I think you're going to enjoy it. And yeah, like you mentioned, yes, it's sons of the original Allman Brothers band members that formed this thing, and he's keeping the tradition going. So wait, let's remind everybody, we got you, Dwayne Betts, who's the son of Dickie Betts. We have Devon Allman, who's the son of Greg Allman.
Basically, Devon and myself are the hosts, and then it's just a bunch of our friends. And I mean, this is more or less we only do this once a year, this particular thing, and we do it every year as a celebration, a tip of the hat, just for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I think we have 18 shows, and that's the only time of the year that we do this. And so it's really special. It's a great way to end the year. We call up our friends and see who's available, see who wants to do it. And we have so many great guests, Jackie Green, Anders Osborne, the the list goes on, as they say. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's been a fun tradition for this is the 7th year, and the first year Devon started it after his father passed away. After Greg Allman passed away, he started it as a celebration for his father. And it was just one show in San Francisco, and then it's grown to where now we do, we go out for 3 weeks, and we thought it was appropriate to kind of bring my dad into the narrative, as we end up playing a lot of his songs because it ends up being the Allman Brothers catalog and not just the Greg Allman catalog, and my dad's getting older in age; he'll be 80. And so we thought it was appropriate to make it a tribute to him as well, bring his name into the fold. So, and my name into the fold. So yeah, I mean, it's a really special thing that we do once a year at the end of the year, and it's we're really having a good time.
That's so awesome. And so, yeah. And so it sounds like, I just want to, just to be clear. So it sounds like rather than just hearing your all sort of original stuff from Down to the River and Bless Your Heart, like your original songs, like the Allman Betts band usually does, like this is like the one time a year, this stretch of 7 weeks or whatever, where this family revival is playing. There's a lot more Allman Brothers. It's a lot more Allman Brothers tributes to your family members in this particular show.
Yeah, right? This is more or less, you will probably play, a couple Allman Betts band tunes in the mix, but this is more, I mean, you'll hear the favorites, you'll hear, there's some really great deep cut selections, and yeah, I mean, it's 2 sets, it's about a 3-hour show, and it's action packed, man. A lot of great guests. I'm sure that you have the list of guests on that particular show.
Oh yeah, we
So
can link to it on in the article and everything for
yeah,
sure, for sure.
for sure.
Well, that's awesome. Well, considering this, seeing as this is mostly like a family revival tribute to, you know, all of your relatives and everything, let's do, you know, normally I would want to talk, you know, I'd want to talk about just your new stuff because I know a lot of sons and daughters of people don't want to talk about their own stuff. But since this is a family revival, let's do a bit of a deeper dive into some of the great Allman Brothers tunes, if you don't mind, since you're going to be playing them. So,
No, I don't mind. I mean, that
cool.
we're in that zone right now, and
Yeah.
so why not?
Yeah, and it's the holidays, it's family time. Let's do it. We're thankful, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. All right, so remind our listeners really quick. I'm sure it's a long story, but before we get to the actual songs, like remind them how the Allman Brothers founded. It was Jacksonville, Florida, in like '69, I think. Like, how did it come together? The two brothers.
They okay. this
This is take a deep breath to answer this.
They were in Jacksonville. I wasn't there.
Sure.
As you might imagine, I wasn't born yet.
You weren't born in the backseat of a
I don't
Greyhound bus
claim to
yet.
be. I'm not an expert on the. But what I know, what from what my knowledge can as far as my knowledge can reach, they were in Jacksonville, and they were all. My dad and Barry Oakley were in a band called The Second Coming, and Dwayne had come to Jacksonville. I think he had gotten done doing sessions in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and they all started playing together. And Dwayne was going to form a 3-piece, and then it ended up being this band, and with more, you know, Barry was playing with my dad, and he wanted Barry, and then Barry wanted my dad to come with him, and he said, well, why don't you add a second guitar player? And then so basically the band was formed, but they didn't have a singer. And then they were in Phil Walden found them, and then they were in Macon, and I think that was when Dwayne called Greg. They had not been speaking. They were just having Greg was out in LA doing something, and they got him to call Greg because they said, well, we could use a really great singer. And Dwayne said, well, my brother sings his ass off, but you know, yeah. And they got him to call him, and then he came, and then that's how the band was formed. So the band is actually completely founded in Macon, Georgia. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how all of that worked. Like when Greg showed up, and I don't know all of that off the top of my head. But
yeah.
But yeah, the band was founded in '69 officially in Macon, Georgia, because I think that's when Greg was added into the mix.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for relaying it to me to the best of your knowledge. As you said, you weren't born yet. But
yeah, I mean,
but I'm sure you've heard the family lore. All right, well then let's go through some. You can probably speak a little more to the actual songs because you know you can talk about what it's like playing them yourselves or hearing them growing up or whatever. Like the songs. Let's talk some of the songs. Yeah. I guess and I'll try to go through somewhat in order. Like I know that first album, that self-titled album, Allman Brothers band had Whipping Post on it. That's one of the band's most iconic ones, especially hearing it live. But how fun is it to play Whipping Post, or any backstory that you remember from the folks on that?
Yeah, Whipping Post is a lot of fun. You can really do some exploring. You know, I like to really kind of test the boundaries on it in the open sections. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where the inspiration for the song came from, but it's a great song, and I like playing it.
Absolutely. But we also have to hit Ida Wild South as well, because Midnight Rider is one of the most iconic Allman Brothers songs ever. You know, I got one more silver dollar. Like a whole generation of Southern rock fans can sing along to that one. But yeah, I mean, is that one of the more popular ones people come up to you or request?
Yeah, I mean, that one's pretty universal. I mean, everybody likes that song. I mean, it's like the hippies, the bikers, all everybody likes it. Yeah, I mean that's kind of one that is a good way to just kind of wrap everything up with, you know. I mean, we tend to. I'm not going to give away the surprises or the set list, but you know, we tend to close the show with that. That's kind of a tradition.
That's
Just get
awesome.
everybody up on stage and just take it home with Midnight Rider is kind of can't really uh, can't really beat that.
Like, how do you follow that one? Awesome.
Yeah.
Gosh, I guess they did. Eat a Peach was like huge one, and Ain't Wasting No Time No More, and a bunch was on that. But I guess Melissa was a pretty big one of their. Well, that was one of the first big ones, right? Like, do you know any stories about how they came together?
I mean, I know Greg says it was a he was in a grocery store and he was looking for a title for a title for this song and I think he wrote that song pretty early on. I think he actually wrote that before the um the band existed. He
Gotcha.
wrote that before the formation of the band. So him and his brother I think had recorded that. And it's a much different version. But I think he was looking for a title, and his story he always said was that he um he heard this woman calling for her daughter, like calling her name Melissa, and he thought, I mean, that's what he always said. It always kind of sounded a little vague to me, but that's what that's what he always said. That's how the title came to be. That's where he got it, was in the grocery store, and
There you go.
this lady was calling for her daughter, Melissa, Melissa, and then
What it was in the was it in the peach aisle? If you eat a peach, that makes sense. The grocery aisle. There you go.
I don't know. I mean, if it's that easy to write a great song, then I
Yeah.
mean, I should hang out at the grocery store more.
You really should. The inspiration everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I'm
Well
just gonna.
then, of course, the like I probably the most iconic one is Ramblin' Man. That was off of the next one in Brothers and Sisters. And I believe your dad wrote that, right? Dickie Betts wrote that song. So
Yeah, he
it was
wrote
your
that
dad.
and
Your
sang
dad
it.
wrote the line, "I was born in the backseat of a Greyhound bus rolling down Highway 41." That is the best like road drifter town to town type of line that is it's like iconic. But yeah, like what has dad ever talked about, what was he actually in a Greyhound bus writing that, or you know what I mean, like any good stories on it?
No, I don't think he was actually. I think it's a great line. It's really good. And I don't know. I think he got the line when it's time for leaving. And I hope you understand. I was born a rambling man. He got that from that's something someone used to say to him. I forgot the gentleman's name who one of his mentors would say that, and so there's a real story behind that. But I don't all the other stuff about being born in the backseat of a Greyhound bus. I mean, that's just imagery. It's just kind of making your point.
It's genius, man. It was genius though.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and the same album, of course, had that killer instrumental, arguably one of the most famous instrumental songs ever, Jessica. That they'll play that song appears like in and out of like when people song news shows and stuff are going to commercial breaks now. You know what I mean? Like that song is ubiquitous now. But why do you think that it works so well, or just in terms of your get experience with it?
It's just it makes people feel really good. I mean, it's a great composition. And he captured a feeling, and to write an instrumental and not have a vocal and have it be that captivating in a I mean it almost is. It's like the melody is so strong and so undeniably captivating that it almost is like a song that has words and a singer. But yeah, I mean, he wrote that for my sister Jessica, and it kind of captured the feeling of she was like the story is that she was like crawling around on the floor and he was playing guitar and he was trying to capture that innocence and that kind of carefree, the innocence of what it's like when you're a child and you're crawling around on the floor exploring, I guess. um so yeah, I mean it's a beautiful song.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for doing such a deep dive into all your, their songs, your folk songs. But
Absolutely, man.
I'm sure you grew up hearing a lot of them, and so how remind us then, how do you and Devin and Barry and how do you all, like, I assume you probably have known each other forever, going to your dad's shows and whatever, but like, how do you decide, like, let's actually team up here?
It just sometimes you do, you're all everybody's doing something and doing different projects, and then those projects come to an end, and then you come together um at the right time, and it feels right to, it feels like, okay, this is the next thing I'm gonna do, and that's kind of what happened. And we made two records, and then Devin and I both do our own records too. I just put out a solo record, actually my first full length solo record, um, earlier this year, called Wild and Precious Life, under my name. And so that's kind of what I've been focused on this year. So this is a really great way to end the year, is doing something with family. Like I said, like a tip of the hat to the catalog and to the family. It's not like we go out and do this tribute all year. It's special. It's just a short little tour at the end of the year, and it feels really good when it's like that. And then we have the whole rest of the year to do. I can do a Dwayne Betts record. I can do play on whoever's record. Ask me if someone wants me to play on the record. I can do an Allman Betts band record. So we're really grateful for the support, and we're really fortunate to be able to do this. So that's kind of the idea of it, is to kind of keep the musical tradition going, and keep the art flowing, and allowing ourselves to be creative and keep pushing forward. And then at the end of the year, do a tip of the hat, do something special, call some friends up, get out on some big stages and some nice venues, and have a party at the end of the year.
I love it. It's gonna be a party. And before we go, I'll just really quick, like, so you and Devin Allman and Barry Dwayne Oakley, and obviously he's not in this show, but you all got together and kind of did the Allman Betts band and the revival and everything. But
Uh-huh.
another Butch Trucks was the drummer in the original group, and his nephew Derek Trucks went on to form Tedeschi Trucks, and we've talked to both them multiple times. It's just like, I'm not asking to compare, Tedeschi Trucks and you guys, but like, just in general, like, it's just, to me, it's just kind of cool that, like, this whole new generation, and you're all like phenoms of your own prodigy. He's a damn prodigy, and
Yeah.
you guys are great too. But like, it's just so cool to me that our generation gets to appreciate what our father's generation got to.
Yeah, Derek and Susan are really, really top notch people. They're just really lovely people. And I recorded my last record at their studio, and Derek played on my record, and they're the best, and they're the best musicians, and their whole operation is top notch. So I have nothing but love and respect for them. And yeah, I mean, we're all kind of connected. We're all kind of part of the same family.
Absolutely. I guess, like, final seconds in terms of, like, I mean, we've talked about like a lot of the recorded hits and everything, but I feel like there's more than most bands. There's like a mythology about seeing, oh, I went to this live show of the Allman Brothers, or you know what I mean, like at Fillmore East. It seems like people talk about it over the decades of, like, there's like almost like a mythology of seeing an Allman Brothers band live, or you guys even live, compared to other younger artists that they're so overly produced that you go see them live and they don't even sound anything like it. But I don't know, I just feel like these names, like at Fillmore East, like live on, almost like the Last Waltz for
Yeah.
other bands. I don't know, like, do you think like the live component is extra strong for Allman and you guys?
Yeah, I think that that music, there's so much improvisation, and there's these there's the potential there for something really amazing, and there's the potential for magic to happen.
Right.
And what I mean by that is the fans have like a certain standard that has been set in those songs where they're, that we have you have the great songs, you have Melissa, you have Midnight Rider, Blue Sky, Ramblin' Man, but you have these long jam sections where it can either be like cool and good or it can be like magical. And so the potential is there, and you really want to strive for magic, and but you have to let it happen. You just go out there and forget everything, and hopefully something really special happens. And if it's really fun, then that's a good sign. So, and that's the live experience that you're talking about. That's kind of that the jam band element of what the brothers did. um that's part of what the fans would come to see.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. That's the perfect way to bring it back around to the show, because the live experience, folks, you gotta, if you live in the DC area, you have to go out to Tyson's Corner, to Virginia, to Capital One Hall, and see the Allman Betts family revival. And I just thank you so much for taking so much time and going through all those songs. Like you didn't have to do it, but you dug down deep in the memory for some of those backstories from your your dad. So I appreciate it. And yeah,
Hey man, I did my best, man. I don't have all the answers. Like I said, I wasn't born until 13 years after that.
Hey, by the way,
But
if you don't mind, like final seconds, like this just dawned on me because we were talking. You're probably more my age, so like, what like modern music? Because we're talking about you giving you tributes to your dad. What did you like grow? Like, what? I'm curious. Like, what were like your touchstones like that you and I probably grew up with?
um when I was like a teenager, I was into like Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins.
Right,
And
right, exactly. That's
you
what I
know,
wanted to know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was into, Stevie Ray Vaughan. I was into a lot of music. I was into like Pink Floyd, but no, as far as the contemporary stuff that was coming out at the time, I was, I liked that contemporary stuff. I mean, the early '90s was a really cool time for rock and roll because you had like the stuff, the kind of alternative grunge stuff, but you also had this kind of retro. You had like the Black Crowes and Lenny Kravitz, and you had kind of this retro vibe like Blind Melon and stuff that had more of a classic vibe. You had just had a lot of really cool stuff happening. It was a really cool time for hip hop too. The '90s.
Oh, who are your favorite rappers? Now let's go.
Nas. I like Wu Tang. I mean, I like some of that New York stuff. I like some West Coast stuff. I mean, I love Andre 3000. It's one of my favorite MCs.
Oh yeah.
I like a lot of hip hop.
Man, Nas is one of the best lyricists ever, and Andre
Nas is
3000, of course.
probably the best. I mean, he's got the heart of a lion.
And you
I
can
can
tell.
talk hip hop.
Oh yeah. Well, with Nas, you can tell he probably got a lot of that from Rakim. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
lyrically.
Rakim is yeah, he's a beast. Yeah, there you go.
And then of course, then came
Yeah.
the Tupac and Biggie and Eminem and all of that stuff that Jay-Z. Like I mean, you and I probably grew up with all the same stuff. But I just
Yeah,
love
I
that.
mean
I love you got versatility.
Eminem is like undeniably skilled. I don't like his music as much as some of the I'm not a huge Eminem. I mean, I know he's unbelievably. But yeah, I mean there's a lot of stuff, man. I can't, my
You're like
mind's not working
you're like that
fast
early. It
enough
sounds
right
like
now.
early '90s like Wu-Tang era, Nas era. That seems like your jam.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like that stuff, but I also, I like stuff from the last 10 years too. I mean, not as much. I mean, I can get on some Drake, a couple Drake joints and some Little Wayne or something. But, but, no, man, I mean, that's a whole different thing, but,
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thanks for stretching.
And then we could talk about jazz. Then we could talk about jazz. What horn players do you like?
Yeah. Well, if you want to throw out a couple, you can. You've been generous enough.
Charlie Parker. Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, Miles Davis.
Yeah, the classics.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I just think it's cool. You have such versatility. Well, I'm gonna try to. Here's how I'll tie it all back together. Eat a peach, peaches, and Wu-Tang Clan cream. Peaches and cream. There we go.
Yo, man, there you go. Peaches and cream, man. That's a great idea for like a mashup set.
Yeah. We'll call up Jizza again and ask him to combine with you, and there you go.
Sure, man.
Hey, thank you so much for doing this. Again, everybody, it's Tuesday, December 5th at Capital One Hall, Allman Betts Family Revival. Get your tickets. Hey, thanks for doing this, dude.
Hey, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.